On Shavuot, it's traditional to read the Book of Ruth. Ruth is a tremendously important document. It depicts the story of two women, Naomi and Ruth, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, who are from different cultures, different nations. Naomi is an ancient Israelite and Ruth is an ancient Moabite. And the bond that's created between these two women, Ruth's choice to leave everything she knew behind, to actually go with Naomi to the land of Israel and bond herself to Naomi, to the Israelites, to God, to the law of the land, which is Torah, by choice. She, in fact, becomes the first formal convert to Judaism. And based on her, the rabbis will build a model of formal conversion that will be followed from that time onward in terms of how does somebody choose to be a Jew. She pledges herself to Naomi with a very, very famous text that says, where you go, I go, where you sleep, I sleep, your people are my people, etc., etc. It's a beautiful, beautiful pledge that's open and that's all-inclusive. When we look at what it is she's doing, and we ask the question of, why would it be her that the rabbis would build that model on? True, it's beautiful. The story of what she's following, the commitment, the choices she's making, we're all touched by it. She's also tremendously intelligent, and we're astounded by that. She's confident, she's independent, all of those things coming from a woman in the ancient world. It's really quite remarkable, and it's a pleasure to read the document. But we still ask that question, why Ruth? Why is Ruth the model? And part of what we begin to understand is that we have two ways to enter Judaism. One is a Jew by birth, and one is a Jew by choice. And once someone has entered Judaism, there really isn't a door out. We don't recognize a Jew who would then choose not to be a Jew, because the only thing we'd say is, oh, well then they're a non-practicing Jew, or they're an unaffiliated or disengaged Jew. But we would never think that they're not a Jew anymore. Because once someone is Jewish, they're Jewish for their entire life. It was something that spoke of their soul, not something that talked about their circumstance at the moment. So there were really only two ways in and no way out. And when we talk about being a Jew by birth, we understand that traditionally, entering Judaism by birth was to enter through the womb of a Jewish woman. That's the threshold. So the threshold in by birth is through a woman. And how appropriate that the threshold in by choice, when someone converts, will be the model that sits on a woman, on Ruth. We're paralleling the two. Ultimately, the rabbis are saying the threshold in through both will be through a woman. And that way we've equalized Jew by birth and Jew by choice. That once the entry has occurred, there is no longer a difference. That has to occur by modeling it on a woman, because the entry in by birth is on a woman. So when we read the Book of Ruth and we understand how beautiful this model is, it's not only the discussion of a Jew by choice, but the text itself tells us her choice will give us the Davidic line. Ultimately, it's going to give us King David, and ultimately that line will give us the Messiah. Talk about the difference one choice makes. But it's a huge choice. It's one direction. It's a doorway in. So when we read the Book of Ruth, our mind spins to all of the messages of the document, but at the same time, we have to sit back for a moment and appreciate that she's the female model that opens that second door, that allows anyone in the world to make one choice, to enter covenant and enter through the model that sits on a woman.